Although he's been a forensic psychiatrist for over 40 years, Dr. Martin Blinder has never seen a case quite like Chad DeSoto's.
Mr. DeSoto suffered one of the most severe depressions that I have experienced in my long professional life. And his depression, unfortunately, fell into that minority category of individuals who are so despairing and so emotionally deranged that it begins to affect the clarity of their thinking. And they reach a point, and he did, where they don't see and hear the same things the rest of us do.
Dr. Blinder practices in Hawaii and California and was called by defense attorney Eric Miller to conduct an evaluation of DeSoto last July. In addition to meeting DeSoto on a single occasion, Dr. Blinder was able to use a narrative provided by DeSoto's girlfriend, Rayanne Ocasio, police reports, and reports from psychiatrist Dr. Michael Kim and Department of Corrections clinical psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthouser before he diagnosed DeSoto with psychotic depression.
And that leaves us with only one possible explanation. He's crazy. He's crazy. And that's a late term for his inability to not know at least the quality and the wrongfulness of his homicidal acts. But from a purely clinical perspective, there is no possible alternative explanation that I could come up with to explain why he did what he did, except that he was driven by a psychosis. And this psychosis drove out the good parts of him, the parts of him that would know this is not something.
Dr. Blinder says DeSoto's depression worsened when his grandfather passed away and a girlfriend relocated to the States. Although Dr. Blinder credits Ocasio's efforts to console DeSoto from her new home in Utah, it just wasn't enough. DeSoto reportedly stopped sleeping, stopped eating, and lost 30 pounds.
As he began to spiral down, she had to deal with his increasing psychotic thinking and try to counterbalance that. She's not a psychiatrist, of course, but she tried, in effect, to provide him therapy. He was talking about a relationship with the devil and voices telling him to give away or bury his belongings. He believed that he had become a monster. He was hearing voices to kill his family. Many things wrapped in religious terms, but which were clearly a psychotic perversion of the Bible. You have this picture of a man who's beginning to drown in his own psychotic thinking. In his jumble of thoughts, he begins to think about damnation, that he's damned, that he's got to kill, that he's got to engage in these terrible acts that any hope that he may have depends upon his carrying out the commands of these various voices.
On Monday, Guam-based psychiatrist Dr. Michael Kim testified that DeSoto was legally sane during his rampage through Tumon. Just yesterday, Colorado criminal forensic psychiatrist Dr. Karen Fukutaki testified that she diagnosed DeSoto with depression, in addition to showing psychotic symptoms. She noted that DeSoto did not understand what he was doing at the time, nor did he understand that it was wrongful. During cross-examinations today, Dr. Blinder noted that psychotic premeditation is also possible, which could explain the knives DeSoto had with him in his car that night. Following his testimony, defense rested its case. Although the defendant's father, Chris DeSoto, was slated to take the stand, defense opted out of calling him to testify. Trial continues tomorrow, with prosecution anticipated to call on rebuttal witnesses. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.